The morning started like any other morning on New Busan. Day woke up at 5 in the morning, just like he always did. He put on his work clothes and walked to the kitchen. His sister Hannah was already there, making coffee. "You're up early," Day said. "Night shift at the medical center," Hannah replied. "Someone has to take care of the miners when they hurt themselves." "Oh," Day smiled. His sister was always thinking about others. That was just who she was. He grabbed his coffee and looked out the window. The colony stretched out below them. Small houses, the big mining facility, the landing pads for ships. It was home for nearly 3,000 people. "I'll see you tonight," Day said. "Sung wants to talk about expanding the eastern mine." "Be careful down there," Hannah said. She always said that. Day always promised he would be. He left their small apartment and headed to work. The sun was rising over the mountains. It was beautiful. Day never got tired of watching it, but he never made it to work that day. The first ship appeared in the sky at 6:15. It was huge, bigger than anything Day had ever seen. Then another appeared. Then another. Soon, there were 12 massive ships hovering over the colony. Jin, the security chief, sounded the alarm. Everyone stopped what they were doing. People looked up at the sky. Nobody knew what was happening. "All residents, get to the shelters." Jin's voice came through the speakers. "This is not a drill. Get to the shelters now." Day started running. He needed to find Hannah. The medical center was on the other side of the colony. He pushed through the crowd of people. Everyone was scared. Everyone was running. Then the ships started landing. They came down fast, crushing buildings beneath them. Day saw one land right on top of the school. He hoped nobody was inside. Strange beings came out of the ships. They were tall, covered in dark armor. They carried weapons that glowed with blue light. Day had never seen aliens before. Nobody in the colony had. "Stay where you are," one of them said. Its voice was cold and mechanical. "Resistance will result in termination." Some people tried to fight. Jin and his security team fired their weapons. The bullets bounced off the aliens' armor like they were nothing. The aliens fired back. Jin and his team fell to the ground. They didn't get back up. Day kept running. He had to find Hannah. He had to make sure she was safe. The aliens were everywhere now. They were grabbing people, pulling them out of buildings. They had devices that shot out blue beams. When the beams hit someone, that person fell down, unconscious. Day finally reached the medical center. He ran inside, calling his sister's name. "Hannah! Hannah, where are you?" He found her in the main room. She was with other medical workers trying to help people who were hurt. When she saw Day, she ran to him. "What's happening?" she asked. Her voice was shaking. "I don't know," Day said. "But we need to hide." "We need to." The wall exploded. 3 aliens walked through the dust and debris. One of them pointed at Day and Hannah. "These two. Take them," it said. Day grabbed Hannah's hand. They tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. The blue beam hit Day in the back. He felt his whole body go numb. He fell to the floor. The last thing he saw was Hannah screaming his name. When Day woke up, he was in a cage. His whole body hurt. He looked around. He was in some kind of large room. There were hundreds of cages, and each cage had people from the colony inside. Everyone was there. The miners, the farmers, the teachers, the children, everyone. Someone called. It was Tay, one of the teachers. He was in the cage next 2 days. "Are you okay?" "Where are we?" Day asked. "On their ship, I think," Tay said. They took everyone. The whole colony. Day looked around desperately. "Hannah, where's my sister?" Tay pointed to the other side of the room. "I saw them take her that way." To a different section, Day grabbed the bars of his cage. "Hannah!" he shouted. "Hannah!" A loud sound filled the room. Everyone went quiet. One of the aliens walked in. This one was different. Its armor was red instead of black. It carried itself like a leader. "I am Vexstar," the alien said. "You are now property of the Krell Empire. You will work in our mines. You will do as you are told. Those who obey will live. Those who resist will die. These are simple rules. You can't do this, someone shouted. We're people. We have rights. Vexstar walked over to that person's cage. You have no rights. You are animals. Useful animals, but animals nonetheless. The galaxy does not care about you. Your home world does not even know you are here. No one is coming to save you. The alien pressed a button on its device. The person who had shouted started screaming. Everyone in the room heard it. Everyone understood the message. Vexstar looked at all of them. You will be separated. Distributed across 12 stations, you will never see each other again. Forget your old lives. Forget your families. You exist only to serve the Krell Empire now. The ship started moving. Through the small windows, they could see New Busan getting smaller. Their home was burning. Everything they had built was being destroyed. Day closed his eyes. Somewhere on this ship, Hannah was in a cage just like his. She was scared. She was alone. And he couldn't help her. He made a promise to himself right then. Somehow, some way, he would find her again. He would get her out of this. He would get everyone out of this. But as the ship jumped into the darkness of space, carrying them away from everything they knew, Day had no idea how he could possibly keep that promise. The Krell had won. Humanity had lost. Or so it seemed. 3 months had passed since the Krell took them. 3 months of hell. Day stood in the mine shaft, his hands bleeding, his back aching. The air was hot and hard to breathe. The Krell didn't care. They wanted the minerals from deep in the planet. They wanted the humans to dig. Station 7 was worse than Day had imagined. The work never stopped. 12 hours of digging, 6 hours of sleep, 12 more hours of digging, no days off, no rest. Just work and sleep and work again. The food was barely enough to keep them alive. Some people got sick. Some people died. The Krell took the bodies away and brought in new workers. There were always new workers. Day shared a cell with Tay. The teacher looked different now, thinner, older, broken. 3 more died today, Tay said one night. They were lying on the hard floor of their cell. That's 18 this month. I know, Day said quietly. Do you think anyone knows we're here? Tay asked. Do you think someone is looking for us? Day didn't answer. He didn't want to give Tay false hope. Earth was far away. Very far away. The colony was small and unimportant. Nobody was coming. I wonder where Hannah is, Day said instead. Still thinking about your sister. Every day, Day admitted. I don't even know if she's alive. She's alive, Tay said. She's strong. Like you, Day wasn't sure he was strong anymore. He felt like he was breaking apart, piece by piece. The next day started like all the others. Wake up. Eat the gray paste they called food. Go to the mines. Dig. Dig until your hands bled. Dig until you couldn't stand anymore. Day was deep in the shaft when he heard the sound. A loud crack. The walls started shaking. Cave in. Someone shouted, run. Everyone started running toward the exit. But Day was too far back. The ceiling came down before he could get out. Rocks fell all around him. Something heavy hit his head. Then everything went dark. When Day opened his eyes, he couldn't move. Rocks were piled on top of him. He tried to push them off, but they were too heavy. He could barely breathe. He heard voices above him. Krell voices. How many trapped? One asked, 6 humans. Another replied, leave them. We have more workers. Not worth the effort to dig them out. The voices moved away. Day realized what was happening. They were going to leave him here to die. Buried alive in the dark, he tried to scream, but he couldn't get enough air. His chest hurt. Everything hurt. Time passed. Day didn't know how much. He started to think about his life. About Hannah. About home. About the morning he had coffee with his sister. The last normal morning. Then he heard a different sound. Something was moving the rocks. Someone was digging. Someone alive down here? A voice said. It wasn't a Krell voice. It was softer, different. The rocks started moving. Light came in. Hands reached down and pulled Day out. When Day's eyes adjusted, He saw beings he had never seen before. They looked almost human, but their skin was silver. Their eyes were large and bright. They wore simple clothes, not armor. Easy, easy, one of them said. It was a female. You're badly hurt. Don't try to move. Who are you? Day managed to ask. Hey, my name's Rin, she said. I'm Valorian. We're here to repair our ship. We heard the cave-in. We came to help. Rin and her crew carried Day out of the mine. The Krell guards saw them, but didn't stop them. Apparently, the Valorians had permission to be there. They took Day to their ship. It was beautiful inside, clean, bright, nothing like the dark cells he had been living in. Arin put Day in their medical room. Machines scanned his body. Lights moved over his injuries. The pain started to fade. You're human, Rin said. It wasn't a question. Yes, Day replied. The Krell are keeping you here. You and others. Almost 3,000 of us, Day said. They took our whole colony. We're slaves. Rin's face changed. She looked angry. That's illegal. The Krell signed the Galactic Convention. They're not allowed to enslave intelligent species. Well, they did it anyway, Day said bitterly. And nobody stopped them. Rin was quiet for a moment. Then she said something that changed everything. I can get you out. Day sat up too fast. Pain shot through his body. What? I can get you off this station. I can take you home. To human space. What about the others? Day asked. What about all the other humans? I can't save them all, Rin said sadly. If I tried, the Krell would destroy my ship. It would start a war. But I can save one. I can save you. Day thought about Tay. About all the people in the mines. About Hannah, somewhere on another station, working just like he had been. I can't leave them, he said. If you stay, you'll die here, Rin said. But if you go home, you can tell your people what happened. You can tell them where we are. Maybe they can do something. They won't, Day said. We're nobody. Just a small colony. Nobody cares about us. Rin looked at him with those bright eyes. You don't know that. Give them the chance to care. Day closed his eyes. He thought about it. Really thought about it. If he stayed, he would die in these mines. He would never see Hannah again. Never see Earth. Never see the sun rise over mountains. But if he went home, if he told them what happened, maybe there was a chance. A small chance. A tiny chance that someone would care. Okay, Day said. Get me out of here. Rin smiled. We leave in 2 hours. The Krell won't notice one missing human. They lose workers all the time. She put her hand on his shoulder. I promise you, I'll get you home. And when you get there, you tell them everything. You tell them what the Krell did? Day nodded. But inside, he made a different promise. He would go home. He would tell them. And somehow, some way, he would come back. He would come back for all of them. 2 hours later, Day was inside a cargo container on the Valorian ship. As they left Station 7 behind, he looked back one last time. I'll be back, he whispered to the darkness. I promise. I'll be back. The ship jumped into deep space. Day was free, but freedom felt like guilt when everyone he knew was still in chains. The journey took 6 weeks. 6 weeks of healing, eating real food, and trying to remember what it felt like to be treated like a person instead of an animal. Rin's crew was kind to Day. They gave him clean clothes. They fed him good food. They let him sleep in a real bed. It felt strange after months of cold floors and stale air, but Day couldn't enjoy any of it. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Tay's face. He saw the other miners. He saw Hannah. They were still there, still suffering, while he was safe and warm. You look troubled, Rin said one day. She found Day sitting by a window, staring out at the stars. I left them behind, Day said. You're going to help them, Rin replied. That's why you're here. What if nobody cares? Day asked. What if I tell them everything and they do nothing? Rin sat down next to him. Then at least you tried. But I don't think that will happen. Why not? Because I've been studying humans, Rin said. Your history. your culture. You're a strange species. You fight each other all the time. You argue about everything. But when one of you is in danger, you come together. You protect your own. Sound very sure about that, Day said. I am. Rin smiled. I've seen it in your history. Countless times. Humans don't abandon each other. It's who you are. Day wanted to believe her. He really did. During the journey, Rin and her crew worked hard. They documented everything Day told them. They made maps of the 12 Krell stations. They recorded guard numbers, shift changes, station layouts. Everything that might help a rescue. You're doing a lot for us, Day said to Rin one day. Why? Because it's right, Rin said simply. The Krell are breaking the law. Someone has to stand against them. But you said you couldn't save everyone. That it would start a war. I can't start a war, Rin said. But your people can. If they choose to. Finally, after 6 long weeks, they arrived at New Seoul Station. It was huge, 10 times bigger than New Busan had been. Ships came and went constantly. Thousands of people lived there. Day felt strange seeing so many humans again. Free humans. Humans who had no idea what was happening in Krell space. RIN contacted the station commander. Within an hour, Day was sitting in a meeting room. Across from him sat Admiral Kwan, a stern woman in a military uniform. Tell me everything, Admiral Kwan said. So Day did. He told her about the attack on New Busan, about the Krell ships, about being taken, about the 3 months in the mines, about the people dying, about his sister. Admiral Kwan listened without interrupting. Her face stayed calm, but Day could see the anger in her eyes. When Day finished, there was silence. How many? Admiral Kwan finally asked. Nearly 3,000 from New Busan, Day said. But the Krell said we were their largest acquisition in years. There might be other colonies. Other humans we don't even know about. Rin stepped forward. She put a data drive on the table. Everything we know is here. Station locations, estimated population, guard numbers, technology assessments. Admiral Kwan picked up the drive. She looked at Day. You're sure about this? You're absolutely sure? I lived it, Day said. His voice was shaking. I saw Jin die trying to protect us. I saw Tay getting thinner every day. I saw children crying for their parents. I'm sure. Admiral Kwan stood up. Wait here. She left the room. Day sat there with Rin, not knowing what to do. She believes you, Rin said quietly. How do you know? I saw it in her face. She's going to do something. Rin was right. 2 hours later, Admiral Kwan came back. But she wasn't alone. She had brought 5 other military commanders with her. We've contacted Earth, Admiral Kwan said. We've sent them everything. The report, the data, your testimony. We should have an answer in 3 hours. Those were the longest 3 hours of Day's life. He paced the room. He drank water. He tried not to think about what would happen if Earth said no. Finally, Admiral Kwan's device beeped. She read the message. Then she looked at Day. Earth United Defense Command has issued an order, she said. All military forces are to prepare for operation. We're authorized to use any means necessary. What does that mean? Day asked. Admiral Kwan smiled. It was the first time Day had seen her smile. It means we're going to get them. All of them. The next few days were chaos. Ships started arriving at New Seoul Station from everywhere. Military ships, corporate security ships, private vessels. Everyone who could fight was coming. Day watched from the observation deck as the fleet grew. 1 ship, 10 ships, 50 ships, 100 ships. They kept coming. A young officer named Yuna found Day watching. I heard what happened, she said. I'm a pilot. I volunteered to help. Why? Day asked. You don't know anyone from New Busan. Doesn't matter, Yuna said. They're human. That's enough. Day heard similar words from dozens of people. Soldiers, pilots, engineers, doctors. Everyone wanted to help. Everyone wanted to bring the slaves home. On the 3rd day, Colonel Nari found Day. She was in charge of the Special Forces team. "We need you," she said. "I'm not a soldier," Day replied. "No, but you know the stations. You know the routines. You know where they keep the prisoners? We need that knowledge. I'll help however I can," Day said. "Good, because we're hitting Station 7 first. "And you're coming with us?" Day felt his heart jump. Station 7. Where Tay was. Where Hannah might be. "When do we leave?" he asked. 5 days, Colonel Nari said. "That's how long it takes to get everyone ready. Can you wait that long?" Day had waited 3 months. He could wait 5 more days. On the final night before the fleet launched, Rin found Day one last time. "My people are coming too," she said. 6 Valorian ships. "We're calling it humanitarian escort." "Thank you," Day said. "For everything." "If you hadn't saved me, you would have found another way," Rin interrupted. "That's what humans do. You find a way." The next morning, Day stood on the bridge of the warship Indomitable. Around him, 347 human ships prepared to jump. Admiral Wu, the fleet commander, gave the order. "All ships, jump on my mark. 3, 2, 1. Mark." The stars stretched. Reality twisted. And humanity went to war. They were coming. And nothing would stop them. The human fleet dropped out of jump space simultaneously across 12 different star systems. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. Day stood in the landing bay of the Indomitable, wearing armor that felt too heavy. Around him, 40 Marines checked their weapons. These were the best soldiers humanity had. They looked calm, ready. Day didn't feel ready. He felt terrified. Colonel Nari walked over to him. "You remember the plan? Get to the prison section. Find the humans. Get them to the transport ships," Day repeated. "Stay close to Lieutenant June. He'll keep you safe." June was a young Marine with kind eyes. He nodded at Day. "Don't worry. We've got this." Through the ship's windows, Day could see Station 7. It looked exactly as he remembered. Dark, cold, evil. "All teams, this is Admiral Wu," a voice came through the speakers. "The galaxy's watching. Show them what humanity does when you take our people. Show them we don't leave anyone behind." The Marines cheered. Day just gripped his weapon tighter. The Indomitable moved closer to the station. Krell defense ships tried to intercept, but human fighters swarmed them. Day watched explosions bloom in space. Ships twisted and burned. "Breaching in 30 seconds, someone announced. Day took a deep breath. Somewhere on the station, Tay was waiting. Maybe Hannah too. He had to stay alive long enough to find them. The ship shook as it attached to the station's hull. Cutting torches activated. Metals screamed. "Breach successful. Go, go, go." The Marines poured through the opening. Day ran with them, his heart pounding. Inside the station, alarms were screaming. Red lights flashed. Krell guards were running everywhere, confused and disorganized. Contact. Someone shouted. Gunfire erupted. The Marines spread out, taking cover. Their weapons were different from what Day remembered. Upgraded, more powerful. When they fired, Krell armor cracked and shattered. The Krell fired back. Blue beams shot through the air. One Marine went down. Then another, but the rest kept pushing forward. June grabbed Day's arm. "This way. Prison section is down this corridor." They ran through the chaos. More Krell appeared. More gunfire. Day fired his weapon, not sure if he hit anything. He just kept running. They reached a blast door. It was locked. "Mira, we need this door open," June said into his radio. On it, a voice replied. A woman in tech gear ran up. She plugged a device into the door's control panel. Numbers scrolled across the screen. Come on," she muttered. A Krell guard appeared at the end of the hall. It raised its weapon. June shot it before it could fire. "Got it," Mira said. The door slid open. Beyond it was the prison section. Hundreds of cages. Hundreds of humans. They looked thin, sick, scared. "We're human military," June shouted. "We're here to take you home." For a moment, nobody moved. They just stared, like they couldn't believe what they were seeing. Then someone started crying. Then everyone was crying, cheering, reaching through the bars. "Get these cages open," Colonel Nari ordered. Mira and her team ran from cage to cage, unlocking them. People stumbled out, weak, but alive. Day pushed through the crowd, looking at faces, looking for someone he knew. Day. A weak voice called. He turned. There was Tay, looking like a skeleton, barely able to stand. Day ran to him. He caught his friend as Tay's legs gave out. "I came back. I told you I'd come back." "I didn't believe you," Tay whispered. "I thought I'd die here." "Not today," Day said. "Where's Hannah? Is she here?" Tay shook his head. "Different section. Section C, but Day, I heard the guards talking. They're going to blow the reactor. If they can't have us, nobody can." Day's blood went cold. "Colonel Nari." He told her what Tay said. Nari's face went hard. "Mira, can you stop it?" "I can try," Mira said. "But I need to get to the reactor control room. Take 10 Marines." "Go now." Mira ran off with her team. Nari turned to the rest. "Get these people to the transport ships. Move fast." Day helped Tay walk, but his mind was on Hannah. Section C. He had to find Section C. June, Day said. "I need to find my sister." "Section C, we have orders to evacuate," June said. "Then, evacuate them. I'm going to find her." Day handed Tay to another Marine and ran. He heard June calling after him, but he didn't stop. Section C was on the other side of the station. Day ran through corridors. He remembered from his months here. He knew where he was going. More Krell guards appeared. Day dove behind cover as they fired. His weapon was almost empty. He had maybe 10 shots left. He fired carefully, making each shot count. One guard went down. Then another. The third rushed him. Day pulled out a knife and stabbed upward, finding a gap in the armor. The Krell fell. Day kept running. His lungs burned. His legs screamed, but he kept going. He reached Section C. The door was already open. Inside, he found chaos. Some cages were open, some weren't. Guards and prisoners were fighting. "Hannah." Day shouted, "Hannah." "Day." A voice. Her voice. "Day, I'm here." He saw her. In a cage at the back. She looked thin and tired, but she was alive. She was alive. Day ran to her cage. He shot the lock. The door swung open. Hannah fell into his arms. "You're here," she sobbed. "You're really here." "I promised I'd find you," Day said. "I promised." The station shook. A massive explosion somewhere deep inside. "The reactor," Hannah said. "They're destroying it. Mira's trying to stop it. But we need to go now." They ran together, helping other freed prisoners. The station was falling. Apart around them, explosions, fires, collapsing walls. They made it to the transport ships just as the final warning sounded. The reactor was going critical in 5 minutes. Colonel Nari was counting people. "That's everyone from this section. Get us out of here." The transport ship pulled away from the station. Through the window, Day watched Station 7 tear itself apart. A massive explosion consumed it. "Did Mira make it out?" Day asked. June checked his radio. He smiled. "She made it. Just barely, but she made it." Around them, freed prisoners were crying, laughing, holding each other. They couldn't believe they were free. Hannah held Day's hand. "I thought I'd never see you again. I made a promise," Day said. "We don't leave anyone behind." Reports came in from the other 11 stations. The same story everywhere. The humans had struck fast and hard. They had rescued everyone they could find. Some stations fought harder than others. Some losses were heavy, but they had done it. Nearly 4,000 humans freed. Not all of them. Some had died before the rescue came, but most had been saved. The cost was high. 41 ships destroyed. Over 8,000 soldiers dead. Day thought about all the people who had died to save him. To save Hannah? To save everyone? But as he sat there, holding his sister's hands surrounded by free humans, he knew they would have said it was worth it. Humanity had come for its people, and nothing had stopped them. The fleet arrived at New Sol Station like a wounded animal limping home. Ships were damaged. Some were barely holding together, but they had done what they came to do. Day stood with Hannah on the transport ship, watching the station grow closer. All around them, freed prisoners pressed against the windows. Many were crying. Some were laughing. Some just stared in silence, still not believing they were free. "What happens now?" Hannah asked quietly. "I don't know," Day admitted. "I guess we start over." The station's docking bay was full of medical teams, reporters, and families. People who had lost loved ones when New Busan fell. People who thought they would never see them again. As the transport ships landed, the doors opened. Freed prisoners stumbled out into the light. The crowd pushed forward, looking for their people. Day helped Hannah walk. She was weak from months of poor food and hard work. A medical team rushed over with a stretcher. "I can walk," Hannah protested. "Let them help you," Day said gently. As they wheeled Hannah away, someone grabbed Day's arm. It was Yuna, the pilot he had met before the mission. "You made it," she said, smiling. "Barely," Day replied. "Did everyone make it back?" Yuna's smile faded. "Not everyone. We lost a lot of good people." Day thought about the Marines who had fought beside him. June, Mira, Colonel Nari. They had all survived. But many others hadn't. "They saved us," Day said. "All those people who died? They saved us. They knew what they were doing," Yuna said. "They knew the cost, and they did it anyway." Over the next few days, the full story came out. The rescue had worked, but it had been close. Several stations had nearly succeeded in destroying themselves. At Station 9, the reactor had exploded, killing everyone still inside. At Station 4, Krell reinforcements had arrived early, trapping the rescue team until other human ships could help. The final count was grim. Of the estimated 4,200 humans in Krell slavery, they had rescued 3,847. The rest had died in captivity or during the rescue, but the cost to the rescuers was even higher. 8,234 soldiers, pilots, and crew members had died. Every one of them had volunteered. Every one of them had known the risks. Admiral Wu held a memorial service on the station. Thousands attended. The names of the dead were read aloud. It took 3 hours. Day stood with Hannah, listening to every name. These people had died for strangers. They had died because it was the right thing to do. When the service ended, Admiral Kwan approached Day. "The Galactic Council wants to speak with you," she said. "Me? Why?" "Because you were there. You saw what the Krell did. Your testimony matters." 2 days later, Day stood before the Galactic Council. Representatives from 40 different species sat in a huge chamber. At the center sat the Krell ambassador Vextar, the same one who had taken them. Day told them everything. He described the attack on New Busan, the cages, the mines, the deaths. The suffering Vextar listened without expression. When Day finished, the Krell spoke. The human colonies were unregistered. They had no protection under galactic law. "We did nothing wrong, you enslaved sentient beings," Rin said. She had come to speak as well. "That violates the Galactic Convention? You signed that treaty." "Humans are barely civilized," Vextar said dismissively. "They're too young, too primitive to matter. And yet these primitive beings destroyed 12 of your stations," Admiral Wu said. She had come too. "These primitive beings killed thousands of your soldiers. These primitive beings rescued nearly 4,000 of their own people from across 12 star systems in a single coordinated strike. Tell me, Ambassador, does that sound primitive to you?" The council chamber went silent. The head counselor, an ancient being called Elder Shin, spoke. "The Krell Empire will face sanctions. You will pay compensation to the human governments. You will cease all slave operations immediately." "Cannot enforce this," Vextar said, "can't we?" Elder Shin replied. 17 species have filed complaints against you. The same 17 species that helped humanity in this rescue. If you continue your practices, you will be expelled from the Galactic Council. You will face a blockade. Your trade will stop. Your economy will collapse. Is that what you want? Vexstar said nothing. I thought not, Eldershin said. This session is concluded. As they left the chamber, Rin walked with Day. They'll follow the ruling, she said. The Krell care about profit more than anything. Without trade, they're nothing. What about the people who died? Day asked. What about the months of suffering? Does this make up for that? No, Rin said honestly. Nothing can make up for that. But it stops it from happening again. That's something. Day returned to New Sol Station. Hannah was recovering in the medical center. She looked better, stronger. Color was returning to her face. The council ruled against the Krell, Day told her. Good, Hannah said. Though it doesn't bring back the people we lost. No, but it means they didn't die for nothing. Over the following weeks, the rescued humans began to recover. Medical teams worked around the clock. Counselors helped people deal with their trauma. Families were reunited. Funerals were held for those who didn't make it. The galaxy's response shocked everyone. Donations poured in from dozens of species, food, medical supplies, money to help rebuild New Busan. Species that had never cared about humans before suddenly wanted to help. Why? Day asked Rin one day. 'Cause they saw what you did, Rin explained. They saw you come for your people. They saw the price you were willing to pay. It made them think. If humans will do this for each other, what kind of allies would they be? 6 months after the rescue, Day stood on New Busan again. The colony was being rebuilt. New buildings rose where the old ones had burned. New people arrived to help. Some were survivors. Some were volunteers. All of them wanted to be part of the story. At the center of the new colony, they built a monument. A black wall with names carved into it. Every human who had been taken, every human who had died in captivity, every soldier who had died in the rescue. At the top, a simple message. We don't leave anyone behind. Ever. Lena stood next to Day looking at the wall. Her name was there among the survivors. So was his. Do you think it will happen again? She asked. Do you think someone else will try to take us? Maybe, Day said. But now they know. If you take one human, we'll come back for all of them. That's who we are. Captain Rin visited for the monument's dedication. She brought news from across the galaxy. Your rescue changed things, she told Day. 6 species have asked to form alliances with humanity. The Krell are losing trade partners. Other slaving operations are shutting down. Afraid humans might come for those victims too. Will we? Day asked. I don't know, Rin said. But the galaxy thinks you will. And sometimes the threat is enough. That night, Day and Hannah sat on the hill overlooking the colony, watching the sunset. The same hill where Day had watched the sunrise the morning the Krell came. I used to think Earth didn't care about us, Day said. We were just a small colony. Not important. But they came, Hannah said. They all came. Every ship they could find. Every soldier who could fight. They came because we're human. That's all that mattered. Hannah leaned her head on her brother's shoulder. Promise me something, anything. Promise we'll never forget them. The ones who died to save us? Never, Day said. How could we? They showed us who we really are. The sun set over New Busan. The colony's lights came on one by one. Somewhere in the darkness, people were laughing. Children were playing. Families were together. All because humanity had kept its promise. They saved one human. So humanity came back for all of them, and the galaxy would never forget it.